Lipless crankbaits, a great pre-spawn and winter tactic for catching big bass. Now out here where we are today on big Sam Rayburn Reservoir, lots of hydrilla in the lake. It's well known for being a lipless crankbait kind of bite. January, February, March. So I want to give you guys some tips on fishing these lipless crankbaits. Lipless crankbaits are great for fishing around grass lines if you got grass. And for fishing that grass, you're gonna need a little bit heftier gear than you typically would. I bump up from a medium power rod to a medium heavy power rod when I'm fishing around grass. 7 foot at least, so you can have some leverage to rip that bait out of the grass. It really helps, and you get more distance so you can cover that water. This one I got right here is a one knocker. So it's got one tungsten knocker in the middle of it. So it's got a really loud sound, really loud under the water. I also like to fish these on a high speed gear ratio reel. That's just about a must when you're fishing these lipless crankbaits. That way when you make a long cast, you can get to going right when it hits the water and get that bait moving and pumping. And that's the other thing too, when you fish these, even when I'm fishing open water, I like to keep the bait kind of pumping. Now when you're fishing grass, let's say 5-6 feet of water, you're throwing on top of that, you're constantly gonna have to be pumping that lipless crankbait to keep it out of the grass, and that's where you get your strikes. As soon as you come out of the grass, the bass will react to it, they'll come over and grab it, and they hit it like a ton of bricks. I like to fish a lower stretch line too. It's good to fish fluorocarbon line, something that you can still cast well, but has a little bit less stretch than monofilament, because when you make a long cast and you're trying to pull this out of that grass, it gets harder and harder to pull it out if you have stretch. So a low stretch line is definitely gonna help you as well. As far as where to fish a lipless crankbait, I like to look for flats and secondary points going into spawning areas. Those are excellent places for bass to set up, and you can really cover water with these baits. So I like to just keep the trolling motor on a medium speed, keep it moving, and when I hit a pile of fish, I'll make a few more casts than I usually would. But you could cast these things like 40 yards and just keep moving down the bank until you run into them. Now red is always a great color in the winter and pre-spawn. Fish seem to really get on that crawfish red pattern. But you may want to try some shad patterns as well, like the one I have here, if you're having trouble getting bites, especially when you're on a lake where people are throwing a lot of a certain color like we are here at Sam Rayburn. A lot of people throw red. So if they see that all the time, you may want to switch to a shad type pattern.